What's up, YouTube? Hope life is treating you all well. I wanted to talk about starting a perfume brand. I have been receiving quite a number of messages asking for advice, support, opinion. I've been receiving quite a number of messages regarding me starting a perfume brand being inspirational for some people, which I appreciate. I've had a lot of inspiration myself in creating perfumes, so I've definitely been inspired, and I think that's kind of the connection between humans, is inspiring one another to do creative things. As humans, we're all very creative. It's just a matter of going into those creative states. You might not feel creative, and it's probably because you could be drawing a picture and comparing your first picture or your art to somebody that's been honing their craft for many years, or somebody could have said your picture looks like shit when that's just their opinion. So this isn't necessarily just about starting a perfume brand. I really can't tell you how to start a perfume brand. I can give you some tips, some things that I have dealt with, some things that have worked for me, but ultimately you're going to have to do all of the heavy lifting. And this isn't necessarily just about starting a perfume brand, but any kind of art form. If you're drawing, if you're painting, sculpting, wanting to write music or play music or do poetry. I do have some advice and some things that I had to work through. But I've had some things go on in my personal life that I've been dealing with that sort of led me to this point and set me up or put me in a really good position to be able to start a perfume brand. And one of those is just dealing with not feeling good enough, not being able to handle criticism, getting rid of the negative, toxic people in my life, kind of bringing me down like an anchor. Those people don't ever really help or prop you up or lift you up or make you a better human. So I think surrounding yourself with the right environment, the right people, the right content, both physically and mentally, the things that you allow into your space, even if it means getting rid of media, news programming, television, visiting toxic places online. That's all gonna benefit you. When you hang out in these negative places, you start to take these beliefs on as your own, and they're not. They're just opinions of deeply hurt people. So, I would surround myself with good, supportive people, and it's not people. I don't mean people that are going to support you no matter what you do. I mean, you can do shitty things and you don't want people supporting you for that matter, because there's no truth to it. You want people to support and guide you in a truthful way. Let's say, for instance, I go into a boutique and Frederick Mall's got his newest perfume there and it's $500 and I don't want to pay for it, and I end up stealing it. And I come out of the boutique and I don't want friends going, yeah, you got a free bottle of Frederick Mall, uncut gem, let's say. You didn't have to pay for it. No. Those aren't the type of people you want. You don't want them supporting you for the wrong reasons. You want them to supporting you for the right reasons. So support in this instance would be somebody calling you out on your bullshit because it's not right, it's wrong, and calling you out in a truthful manner. So that's what I mean by supportive. You don't want, there is such a thing as toxic positivity and support and all that crap. So you don't want, the wrong type of support But ultimately, sometimes you don't have these people in your life. So you got to give this to yourself. You got to believe in yourself. You need to believe in whatever it is that you're doing. And I've had some comments or some messages asking about, I want to start a perfume brand, but I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid of not succeeding. How do I deal with that? How do I create a perfume brand and not fail? And I can't answer that for you. That's got to be on you and what you define as success. What would have to happen in order for you to consider this a success? And for me, it was very simple. I didn't have a definition. I had no expectation and no attachment to success. And for me, that a lot of that came in the work that I was doing internally on myself the last 3 years or 4 years, almost going on 4 years. And, to overcome some of a man's greatest fears, such as death itself, to be able to look at death right in the eye and be ready whenever that moment comes and accepting is a lot more scarier than failing at perfume. So that's going to take a little bit of internal work. I would start there. Start looking at your fears and figuring out where they come from, what is making you scared, what is not feeling right. It needs to feel right. And throughout this entire process, for me, and I would suggest this for you, is don't even let fear enter the state of mind. For me, it was never even a thought. That thought never once even came into my mind. If it tried to, I would block it out. I would stay very in the moment without getting into fear-based thoughts. So that was very helpful for me. And I didn't have a definition of success. I just wanted to do something that I loved. And that was my goal, was just to work with a master perfumer, create something that I love myself and be able to put it out on the market. And if I sell one bottle, that would have been good enough for me, right? So whatever comes after is just an add-on. It's just an addition to that. So I would, number one advice is get rid of the negativity, get rid of negative thoughts, feelings, work through those, surround yourself with good people, supportive people. I had at one time, even my parents were saying, don't do anything perfume-wise. You're going to lose all your money and it's going to be the end of the world. And, they weren't very supportive. And I had to cut that off. I had to put up a big boundary and say, listen, you can't talk to me that way. I understand you worked hard your whole life and you struggled and you came from a different country and you taught me how to work hard and I did and I still do. But if I have dreams and goals that are outside of your beliefs, you have to allow me to chase these. And although you don't want to be supportive, that's fine. I don't allow for you to project your fears onto me. And I understand that you have the best intentions in mind, and you're worried and you want only the best for me, but nobody knows what's best for me better than myself. So that's something that I had to deal with. Number 2 piece of advice would be, as a perfume brand or as an artist, as a creator, whatever you're creating, is have something significant to say. Although you can say anything you want, but I would have something significant stand out and make it important to you. And this is what I meant by, I can't help you or guide you. This is something only that you know, something that you feel. And you're going to get this by just spending time alone, and it'll come to you naturally. Go into a place of, what is it you think about all day? Where do your thoughts go? That's all we do all day is we think. Just think. And usually we think about the same things every single day, day in and day out. And I would start there. What do you think about all day long? What is your passion? What is your inner voice saying? What is that guiding light taking you to? If that's relevant to perfume, something you can express perfume-wise or artistically, that's where I would start. And if you don't have anything relevant worth saying, I would say just start writing. Writing has helped me tremendously. I try to write every day. I try to meditate every day to connect back to myself, to go inside and write. Just write. And don't stop writing. And when you come to a place where you think you have nothing else to write about, that's where I would really look. That's where I would look into that space of not having anything to say, because that is an uncomfortable place, and that's where you're going to find something deep and meaningful. And I would go into there, and don't be afraid of expressing whatever it is you are feeling, because chances are, if you're feeling something, there are other people that are feeling the exact same way. You're not the only one. This isn't the first time that somebody has felt a certain way. So I would definitely go into there. Look at some of your inspirations. There are people that you watch, that you listen to, that you admire, and obviously for some reason there is something about that person or that thing that you connect with. They are lighting a flame inside of you. I would look into that. What is it about that? And you don't necessarily need to do exactly what they're doing. You can't do exactly what they're doing because you're not them. However, you can express something similarly in your own fashion, in your own way. I would look there. I've had many inspirations perfume-wise, even outside of perfume-wise. I'm inspired by French perfume, Chanel, Dior, Guerlain, Hermes, Frederic Malle. Victor Wong was a big inspiration for me, being a fellow Canadian and meeting him several times and watching him grow his niche brand. And David Bowie has been a huge inspiration for me artistically, not really perfume, but just listening to him talking about creating from an uncomfortable position, but an authentic position, something that is true to you, not something made up in boardrooms. There's a very little authenticity in there, and that's I don't connect with inauthenticity in perfumes or art, and you can see right through a lot of that. And that's why things like coffee and donuts don't really inspire me in fragrance, because it's like an everyday thing. I like much more deeper, important things that have substance to them. But yeah, I would go inside and figure out what inspires you, what motivates you. And I can say this with very good intention and from truth, and it isn't to be cynical or put myself down, but if I was able to create what I did in the state of mind that I was in, which was I was dealing with depression and thoughts of not really wanting to be here. There was many times where I didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't want to be part of this, the moment, and is all things that I had to overcome. And if this is something that I could have created in that time of my life, I know you can do this too. You can create anything you want. It's just a matter of making the right choices and taking action, getting up off the sofa, putting the cell phone down, and start doing things, start sending out emails. Not one, right? If you want something, you're going to chase it. So you send out 10, hoping one responds. Sometimes things don't work out the way you want them to, or you expect them to. That's going to happen. We all have this premonition of how we think things are going to work out, and we all know it never works out the way we want. And there's a reason for that. So things aren't going to work out the way you want, but they're going to work out if you put in the effort. You're going to find a way. Things didn't work out exactly I had planned, but that in the end worked out for me. It worked out best that specific things didn't work out the way I had envisioned. So keep that in mind. Things aren't going to work out for you, but don't let that roadblock stop you. It's just an obstacle that you need to overcome and get past. So just kind of blow right past those obstacles. So that's just a couple of tips. You know, I've had some friends reach out and wonder about starting a perfume line or anything creative, and I am all supportive of it. There's enough room in this place for everybody. I wasn't the first one to do this. There was many before me, and I didn't get a whole lot of help. I got a little bit of help, but I'm happy to share whatever knowledge or anything that I have, any kind of resources or sources. I'm happy to share that. So there you go. Just a little bit of insight. Hopefully it will inspire somebody to create. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, drop them down below. If you have any insight for yourself, let us know. It's always good seeing you, but we'll see you soon.